everyone, we're here at SHOT Show 2024 and I'm at the Rise Armament booth. If you guys have been following my channel for any length of time, you know I've been running the Rise Armament triggers for forever. But all the ones that I've talked about have been like true single stage feeling triggers, which is a really nice trigger, but some people prefer that two-stage feel. So they actually came out with this last year, so I'm a little late to the party. We'll cover this and then we'll go on to some of the new stuff that they've got. But what is the trigger you have in your hands there?
So right here, I've got our iconic independent two-stage trigger. And the reason we call it the independent two-stage trigger is because we've got these two blades right here. A lot of people think it's like a Savage Accu trigger or a Glock safety, right? Because they see the blade in front of the back one. But this front blade is actually independent mechanically inside the housing.
Yeah.
So what that provides is you get a nice 1 pound pull on the front stage, a really distinct wall. We found a lot of two-stage triggers are kind of mushy, not exactly sure where that wall is. With the iconic, you know exactly where it's at. So if you're on a cold weather hunt, you got gloves on or something, or maybe you're teaching someone how to shoot, you're kind of showing them the ropes of, you know, hey, here's the standard basics of a trigger pull. You can kind of give them that feel. So you got 1 pound to the wall, 2 pound break, and then you've got a nice clean reset like a single stage trigger on the back end.
Right, yeah, and the overall travel is very, very minimal, especially once you hit that reset. And like he was saying, if you're wearing gloves, sometimes it's hard to feel really anything, but let alone a really nice precise trigger with heavy gloves or even thin gloves for that matter. So being able to have that very clear feel through gloves, through anything else, makes this really nice, and you still have that short, crisp feel of a single stage with that positive, you know, pre-travel, stage it, and then break for that two stage with, again, a very clean, predictable wall that feels the same every single time.
Yeah, we call it the no doubt second stage wall because there's no doubt that you're there. You're never questioning when that break's about to come. So it's really nice for that aspect, and like you said, it's called the best of both worlds as well because you're kind of getting the benefits of a two-stage trigger up front and the benefits of a single stage trigger on the second half.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen some people shoot this thing pretty quick once you kind of figure out that reset when you're shooting.
Right. Now, and I will also say, I know one thing that draws people to the two-stage triggers, and one of the things that drove me to two-stage triggers early on was just reliability. In my brain, it was two-stage triggers are just more reliable. And if I can take some time to tell a brief story real quick, I took a long-range precision class with one of my ARs that had one of the Rise Armament 535 triggers in it. Ran the whole class suppressed. It was wet, everything hardened. I didn't clean it. A couple days later, I pulled the gun out. The safety was literally carbon locked to where I could not rotate the safety at all, but the trigger still worked correctly. And if I got enough carbon in there to freeze the safety in place, but the trigger was still running, I can feel pretty confident that that trigger's going to be able to handle whatever I put it through.
Absolutely.
And then one other thing that I like that you guys have been working towards is not having any set screws or anything like that when you install it. This is just a drop in, put the bolts through, and you're good?
So we've got 2 springs on the bottom of the housing. Those replace the need for the set screws. They put tension on the bottom of the housing, and that allows the trigger to properly function.
Yep, and with all the other triggers, I'm assuming it comes with the anti-walk pins and everything that you need to install?
Yes, sir, and it also comes with a lifetime warranty. So just like all of our products, triggers, you know, hand guards, whatever you buy from us, lifetime warranty no matter what. No matter where you buy it from. You can buy it from us, you can buy it from your friend, your gun shop, wherever. If you ever run into any issue, you can call us up, send us an email, we'll replace it for free.
Nice.
So
now, real quick, before we move on from this, it's got kind of a curved bow to it.
Sure.
Is there going to be flat options, or is this going to be it for now?
I think this is going to be it for now. You know, we kind of trying to perfect this. I would like to see that in the future, but I don't make those decisions, right?
The future is full of possibilities. You know, we don't want to hammer anything down too much. So again, AR triggers has been their bread and butter. They've been fantastic. They've proven themselves to me. But let's move on to a new style of trigger that they've been working on. So here in my hands, I have a Remington 700 pattern rifle, a Bergara, as I'm very familiar with. So you guys are working on 700 triggers now.
Absolutely, yes we are. And so inside this Bergara rifle is what we're calling the Reliant Hunter.
Okay.
And so as the name states, we're targeting the hunter audience. You know, one thing we found when we were looking to branch out into the bolt action R700 trigger game was a lot of people have safety concerns. You know, when triggers are real light, they're worried, hey, what if I drop my rifle? If I hit it, is it going to fire? So our mission was to kind of create one of the safest R700 triggers on the market. We feel like we succeeded. We did thousands and thousands of drop tests with one of the models weighted down to a pound or less with with 0 failures.
Yeah, I understand you even broke stocks during the testing process.
That is correct. Cracked many stocks.
Yeah.
Made a lot of noise throughout the office. Guys doing drop testing, like, what's that noise?
Right.
Yeah, it was, our R&D team was putting it through rigorous testing, and we never had a single failure. So we're really proud of that, and we're really excited for the additional safety features that this trigger can bring to this platform. Because we know, like I said, a lot of customers are really concerned about that and really want. So, little specifics about the Hunter version. Comes with a 3 to 5 pound adjustable pull weight. We've got the safety lever on the outside here, and then underneath, in front of the trigger blade, in the trigger guard, the pull weight is adjustable on the outside while the trigger is installed. So that's another unique feature about our trigger.
Yeah, it's a pain, especially with precision rifles where you've got your specific torques and everything else, to torque everything up tight to test it, only to find out you want to adjust it. Now you got to take it all apart, put it all back together. Being able to adjust it from the outside is a really nice thing.
Yep, and so that's pretty much it, man. That's kind of the main rundown. Is we wanted to go for what the Rise triggers are known for. You know, great performance, really reliable. You know, you can put thousands of rounds through them, not worry about your trigger. That's something you know is going to perform. We wanted to bring that to this while doing something a little bit different, and hopefully we succeeded. We feel like we did, and we're really excited about it.
Well, and one thing, if you probably haven't, if you've already seen it, great. If not, I'll roll in footage now. I actually got to try these out at range day yesterday. Shot really well, but to me, the real clencher for this trigger, what's the price point on the Hunter version?
So the Hunter one is MSRP'd at $169. So
that's extraordinarily competitive.
I'll let you say it.
Yeah, an extraordinarily competitive price for a Remington 700 trigger. I was telling these guys I've been looking at different triggers around the market for a long time. Most of them were in a price range where it wasn't worth putting in the investment to get a little bit better performance. At well under $200, especially street price at your local stores, that's kind of a no-brainer. Or especially if you're doing a build from the ground up, because it's compatible with the 700 receiver pattern and everything else. It's a really compelling option in that price range. But you guys have another step up from this one.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me grab that. So here is the next step up. So this is the Pro.
This is called the Reliant Pro. Yes, sir. And so the Reliant Pro comes with a curved or flat blade. Kind of got the same safety feature on the outside. Cool thing about this one is it's adjustable between 1 and 3 pounds. So it's lighter, more for your long range precision shooting. Still can be used for hunting if you like the lower pull weights, but wanted to target another area of people who use these guns. One thing on this that's on this trigger model that's not on the Hunter is the over travel is also adjustable, and that's the same way on the outside of the trigger housing here, right next to the pull weight. So, you know, guys like to tinker, you know, want to feel like that trigger's their own. Adjusting the over travel allows that.
Right. Well, and the other thing there too is, as I know a lot of you who do long range shooting know, the less travel you can get in the gun, the more consistent you're going to be able to be, especially at those longer distances. So just removing as much travel from the trigger pull as possible is just going to set you up for success. Not saying you can't be accurate with like the Hunter where you don't have that, but for those of you that want to squeeze that extra little bit out of there, that gives it, and again, that's also adjustable from the outside.
Correct, yeah. And one thing I failed to mention so far is, like all of our other triggers, this thing is, I know the installation process, a little more complex on a Remington 700, unlike an AR, but this is still self-contained in a housing like our AR triggers. So once you've got your stock removed and the other trigger out, you simply put it in there and put the pins in, kind of put the gun back together, and then you don't have to adjust anything when you're installing it because it's available from the outside when the gun's fully assembled. So
yeah, you're not doing any surgery on your old trigger housing or anything like that. It's a self-contained unit that just effectively drops in.
All the sear faces are self-contained in that housing, so you're not worrying about a sear. You know, when you take the bottom of the trigger off and that top sear's, you know, just sitting there and you're trying to figure out where everything went.
That's never a recipe for success. Now, again, we had about, what, $169 for the Hunter?
And
what
then
does this come in at?
The Pro MSRP is at $259.
Okay.
So still really competitive price point, especially for the benefits, you know, you're getting in the high performance that this trigger offers.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, for those of you who haven't done a lot of looking around in the Remington 700 trigger market, it's not uncommon to be well over $300 for stuff like that. So again, really compelling options at very competitive pricing. Again, they speak for themselves in this case. So Any other bolt action lines that you guys are looking at expanding into?
Not at the moment, as far as I know. I know this was a big project for us, and so it's our first foray into another segment of the gun industry outside of ARs.
Yeah.
Kind of just trying to take it one step at a time, and I have a feeling that this goes well, which we think it will. We'll see some more.
Cool. And again, you can read between the lines there. Obviously, the 700 is the most prolific platform for bolt actions on the market, but if it goes well, it's not outside the realm of possibility to see it incorporated into other popular markets out there as well.
And this is good for clone actions as well, clone R700 action. So it's not just your standard R700s, you know, any clone action you've got for that platform, this will work well.
Yeah, exactly. So like we were holding Bergars, I'm not sure if this is
Stag Arms.
This is Stag Arms.
Yes,
sir. Christensen, all those guns that use the 700 pattern, you're good to go. So that's triggers. Let's look at some complete rifles. So now we're over here with some of their complete guns. So this is one of your new 22 arcs, correct?
Yes, sir. So it's called the Watchman XR, chambered in 22 arc, 18-inch barrel. Our design.
Made in-house now,
Made
too,
in-house,
right?
yes, sir. We just brought that in. It's an 8-pound rifle for PRS or varmint hunting, anything like that. It's got a new handguard on here with metal inserts and a new locking system that's going to make it much better and much more stable. We got a pinned gas block on here, so you're never losing that thing. It's pinned to the barrel. It's got a ambi safety selector, excuse me. Kind of a patent pending design on this. It's got a self-contained detent pin in here. So pretty cool.
Nothing's going to flying out on you while you change it out.
As they would say, air soluble.
There you go.
As soon as that thing comes flying out. So
I've never heard that. That's like, I like that.
Yeah, and then we've got a new ambi charging handle that we'll be coming out with. All these are Rise parts. And then we've got a really cool trigger guard here. It's got a detent on it. Punch it with a pin or an Allen key. It drops down, so if you got gloves or something, you can fit more of your hand in there. Comes with our iconic 2-stage trigger. Ready to rock, man. Again, this thing's 8 pounds, all in between the hands. Really easy to swing, really easy to maneuver. Just overall, a really badass gun that we're really excited to release.
Yeah, and one thing I like too, just with the Rise Armament in general, when I'm looking at their products, seeing the thought, like there's people who have been doing ambi safeties for a long time. But being able to actually improve on what's already existing out on the market, like by having the captured springs and detents, not having it go flying, or like with the trigger guard, having it still swing open, kind of like a mil-spec, with again a captured spring and detent, it's just really well thought out. You're not going to lose parts when you're out in the field, when you're wearing gloves, when it's cold, etc. It's just a really well thought out design. And then two, with this, from what I've been talking with some of the other folks about, with your own in-house barrels, the accuracy that you guys are getting with this 22 arc is like beyond comprehension. Can you talk on that?
Yeah, from what I understand, they were shooting .19 groups at about 600 yards, is what I was told.
.19 MOA is like, at 100 yards, that's smaller than the diameter of the projectile as far as the group size.
I mean, just ridiculously accurate.
And again, being able to shoot it that accurately out to 600 yards. And I mean, 22 arc, I have only recently learned about it. I knew about 6 arc, like pretty dang flat out to even 800 yards or something like this. So you've got a really high BC bullet with a heavier weight than you typically see on a 5.56, more stable, so you can actually reach out there. You've got more powder capacity because of that different case. So for you long-range PRS guys, that's a really, really neat option, or even for your varmint folks out there. That's a really neat option, and something that in a very familiar package with already extant magazines, you don't have to wait for some vaporware magazine to pop up. You can just start using it right away. And you guys are also making 6 arc rifles, correct?
I believe so, yes sir. I believe that's it's on the docket.
Yeah, again, really interesting calibers. I know every year there's this new whiz-bang caliber that's come out. And especially for those of you who got into 224 Valkyrie, you might recoil at the idea of another like 22 caliber bullet. But this is something that was actually designed, taking the lessons by Hornady from things like 224, and it's been built from the ground up for it, and really impressive numbers coming out of it. And again, with their barrels, .19 MOA is just beyond my realm of like comprehension. I can't even shoot that good on a ransom rest, so it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And again, this is in addition to your already existing line, but again, with the improvements like the more robust handguard,
Yeah.
that pinned-in gas block, which makes it effectively bomb-proof. It's not going anywhere.
Absolutely.
Just a lot of peace of mind with stuff like that.
Absolutely, man. You nailed it.
Yeah.
And we're really, really excited about it. Going to be a huge addition to our lineup of rifles and new products that we're coming out with. So again, it's kind of cool to not only build a rifle around this new caliber, but also equip this thing with truly cool rise parts like the safety selector and the charging handle, all that stuff to kind of have this rifle that's truly ours.
Yeah.
It's pretty freaking sweet.
And one quick note, it does look like it's not threaded here at the end. That's actually just a thread protector. It is threaded, so you can still run it suppressed or do whatever fun stuff you want.
Sir.
I just think it's a really cool option. So if people wanted to be able to stay on top of product releases or product availability or your huge selection of existing triggers or the ones we've talked about, where's a good place for them to look?
You can look on our website, risearmament.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or X, Instagram, at Rise Armament on all platforms. And our email list, subscribing to our email list through the website is a great way to stay up to date. We release emails all the time with product information, but deals, all the works. So just kind of your standard ways of reaching out to people. That's kind of where we stay on top of it on all those platforms, make sure that when this comes out, hopefully have some cool videos and some stuff to show it off. So.
Awesome. Yeah, and again, I can put links to their social media down below. I can't put a link to their website. Just Google search Rise Armament. You'll figure it out.
It'll should be number one.
There. Yeah, it should be. Really impressive stuff. Really well thought out designs. Again, they're not just doing it to be like everyone else. They're actually taking ideas and then taking those extra steps to improve upon those ideas. Something I really appreciate. So it's really cool to see. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, Ryan, appreciate you,
man.
man.
Little peek behind the scenes. Calvin was like, I don't really know if I'm the one to talk about these. I think you did great.
Awesome,
so I appreciate your time.
Hey, well, still learning. This is such a new thing. And again, I was kind of like you when they dropped this new caliber. I was kind of like, man, another one.
Another
Here we go.
one. Okay, yeah. Well, great. So again, we're going to be doing a lot more coverage here from SHOT Show 2024. Thanks again to these guys for their time.
Yes,
but as always, I hope you got something out of this video, and I really appreciate you watching.